They warned her. Her father begged her, but she listened to her mother. On the night her husband walked out without a word, Adasua sat on the floor in her wedding room and whispered, "If I had known, I would never have been born."
My name is Adasua, and this is the story of how my marriage died before it even learned how to breathe. I was called beautiful from the day I learned to walk. Not the noisy kind of beauty, but the quiet, soft kind that made people stare too long and sigh without knowing why. In our town, people used to say, "That girl will marry well." They were right. I married Ifeanyi Okori. Young, rich, disciplined, respectful. The kind of man mothers prayed for and fathers trusted with their daughter's future. Our wedding shot down the street. Gold trays, live band, cameras flashing, my mother smiling the widest. But my father looked worried. I didn't understand why. The two voices in my life. Growing up, I had two teachers. My father taught me patience. My mother taught me power. My father would say, "Marriage is teamwork. Sometimes you bend so the house doesn't break." My mother would laugh and reply, "That is how women become slaves." She often said, "Never let a man feel like he owns you. Man and woman are equal. If he talks, you talk louder." I thought she was strong. I thought she was wise. I didn't know she was bitter. She had suffered in her own marriage, and instead of healing, she decided to pass the pain down.
Ifeanyi's house was quiet, clean, orderly. The first night, he said gently, "Adasua, this is our home. Let's learn each other." I smiled, but I remembered my mother's voice. When he suggested how he liked his meals, I heard my mother whisper in my head, "Don't start that rubbish." So I replied sharply, "I'm not your house help." He looked shocked, then confused, then quiet. That silence was the first crack. Every morning she called. "What did he say today? Did he try to control you? Hope you didn't kneel for him, oh?" If I said, "He asked me to reduce going out at night," she would explode. "Who is he? Your father?" Slowly, I stopped listening to my husband and started reporting him.
One evening, Ifeanyi came home tired. He said calmly, "Adasua, can we talk?" I crossed my legs, folded my arms. My mother's training kicked in. He said, "I feel like we are fighting too much." I replied, "Then stop acting like you're the man of the house." Silence. That night, he slept on the couch. I called my mother proudly. She laughed and said, "Good, show him you are not weak." My father overheard the call. He pulled me aside the next day and said softly, "My daughter, marriage is not a battlefield." I shouted at him, "Me? Daddy, you're old-fashioned." I didn't know I was insulting wisdom itself. The worst part? I allowed my mother to interfere directly. She started visiting unannounced, correcting Ifeanyi in his own house, questioning his decisions. One day she told him, "In this modern world, a man and woman are equal. Don't bring that village mentality here." Ifeanyi stood up. His voice shook. "Mama, please respect my home." She laughed. That night, he told me, "Your mother is destroying us." I replied without thinking, "If you can't handle her, then you can't handle me." That sentence was the knife. There was no shouting, no slap, no drama. He packed quietly. I came back from my mother's house and saw empty wardrobes. I laughed nervously, then I saw the note. "Adasua, I married you, not your mother. I fought, I endured, I hoped. But love cannot survive disrespect. I wish you peace." I fell. I screamed. I called my mother. She said casually, "Let him go. Men like that
come crawling back. But days passed, weeks passed, silence. The house became too big, too quiet. I started remembering moments, his patience, his restraint, his tired eyes. I went to my father crying. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just said, "Some lessons are expensive." That night, I lay alone and whispered, "If only I had listened." One evening, I confronted my mother. "Why did you ruin my marriage?" She snapped, "I saved you." Something broke in me. I realized she didn't want my happiness. She wanted control. I walked out. But it was too late. If Yanni had remarried, moved on, built another home. Today, I sit alone. Not because I was weak, but because I was misguided. I regret listening to a voice that was never at peace. Sometimes, I look at my mother and feel something close to hate. Other times, I hate myself. And on my darkest nights, I whisper the truth no one should ever say. I regret being born into the wrong influence. Mothers-in-law must allow their daughters to enjoy their marriages. A mother who controls her daughter's marriage destroys two homes, her child's and her own.